There we go. Good morning. Welcome to the Friday monthly optional Zoom. We do have a guest this morning, Dean Gyorgy. Did I say it right, Dean?
Close enough, yes. Gyorgy.
Gyorgy. Wait a minute.
Gyorgy.
I thought it was Gyorgy. Like
well, it
anyway.
could go either way, as we talked about.
Okay, I thought I had it right. All right. I really want to introduce everybody to our new program director at MDF. So Sylvie, take it away, and then you'll get to see who everybody is. But I would love for you to tell them a little bit about yourself.
Great. I'm Sylvie PK, and I'm thrilled to have just joined MDF and be working with Anne, and I'm really looking forward to meeting all of you. I'm down in Portland for the first time now since I've moved to Maine and really moved for college. And so I've been mid-coast and then down east. So I'm getting a little bit of everywhere on the coast. So really looking forward to getting to know you, all of your downtowns and all of you.
Thanks, Sylvie.
Yeah.
Sylvie is going to be doing all sorts of things for MDF. I would say the affiliate program. So Nancy, I think you're going to get to meet Sylvie, and then obviously backstopping on Main Streets, and I don't know, we have a whole long list of Sylvie things, and she's coming to all our meetings just to get to know stakeholders over the next couple weeks, but you'll start to get to hear her and see her. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning to all.
So we this morning are going to use our format of, like, we have a guest, Dean, who is going to check in about a project he's been working on with Texas Main Streets, although he is based in Maine. So we're going to have Dean do a short presentation and then followed up with some Q&A from you guys. But to set Dean up about who you all are, I'm just going to have you do a quick name and organization this morning. Good morning, Linda.
Morning.
Thanks for squeezing this in. So Jennifer, I'm going to start with you.
Sure. Jennifer Day, and I'm the new ED for Saco Main Street.
Great. And Amanda.
I am now one of two Amandas, so it's going to be confusing. I'm Amanda from Bath, Main Street, Bath.
And Dave.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry, I'm in the middle of like a really bad flu, so I apologize.
Oh.
I am Dave Bogal, and I'm the director of Main Street Rockland.
And Dave, as we go through this morning, feel free to use the chat so you don't have to strain your voice. Deb.
Hi, I'm Deborah King. I'm the executive director of the Brunswick Downtown Association.
And Nancy.
I am Nancy Ketch, and I'm the community development director for the town of Fulton.
Melissa.
Hi, Melissa Lindley, director of Gardner Main Street.
And Bill.
You said Bill?
I did say Bill.
Yeah, I'm on Main Street, Bath, a couple of three committees, and I am on the Maine Downtown Center Advisory Council, where I've been since day one.
That's right. Thanks for coming. And Linda.
Hi, I'm Linda Nelson. I'm the Economic and Community Development Director for the town of Stonington.
Thank you. And Perry.
Hi, sorry to be joining off camera today. Things in my house are just a disaster this morning. So Perry, and I work with Anne at the Downtown Center, and Sylvie now.
Yeah, and totally fine to have you here, however you can make it. So we're going to, like I said, turn it over to Dean to talk about this project in Texas Main Streets. Think about how video storytelling is something you might already be doing in your communities, or you might want to think about this body of work in the future. And then we'll do some Q&A, and then we will just let Dean head on his way for the day and see what kind of open discussions we have. We were talking about, what was it called, Deb? Something Wednesdays with too much heat, and then thunderstorm Thursdays.
It's usually washout Wednesdays and thunderstorm Thursday.
There you go. How a number of our summer concert series have not been able to be held this summer. So, okay, Dean, I'm going to turn it over to you. and take it away.
Great. A little screen share here. Oh, play. How about that?
That's working.
Everybody? Okay, good, terrific. Well, thank you. It really is a pleasure to be here. I'm Dean Gyorgy. I'm founder of Hero Media Network. And I frankly, am just a big fan of the Main Street movement across the country and all of the work that you do. I've been talking with Ann for about a year or so about what Hero Media does, which is sharing the stories of small business entrepreneurs through emotionally impactful video. We really believe in boosting local economies, celebrating the stories that make our places unique. And really the best way to achieve that is through short form video for social media. We understand that there are lots of video production companies out there, but this really is different, our program. It's designed for communities, utilizing cutting edge technology, really to be as efficient as possible, to lower our costs, to allow for broad participation. The next 8.5 minutes, I've timed it. I'll tell you a little bit about our company's evolution, share the results of an exciting pilot that we just did with Sealy Main Street in Texas, and really ask for candid feedback on how this program might work for communities in general or you specifically. It really is not a sales pitch. It's more of a, here's what we do, what we've developed, and what do you think? This is our office, Main Street, Winthrop, Maine, above the subway. I grew up in Central Maine, in fact, the other end of that lake, and moved home to raise the children. We've run a creative agency here for the last 10 years or so, websites and graphic design, really catering to small business customers, right? Behind the counter mom and pops that we've got a great affinity for. Video has always been a part of what we do, and over the last several years, we've developed a unique approach to video content. It's biographical, it's unscripted. We really see an entrepreneur's story as, their superpower, a valuable marketing asset. I know you hear a lot about that from Main Streets and small businesses, especially now. Need to connect emotionally, tell your story. But business owners, we find, often really have a hard time seeing that themselves. It's kind of an aw shucks, what I do is not that special. And we say, no, it really is. And it's hard for them to promote themselves. Authentic is a word we use a lot in sort of our brand positioning. We are storytellers, and our videos create an emotional connection with the viewer. They inspire a sense of patronage or a rooting interest. I think we all, as places, right, that we go to because we have an affinity with the owner, we want to do business with people we feel we know. On the right are a couple of examples we've done over the last couple of years. You may have seen Jesse LaCase makes bats in downtown Skowhegan, Michael Doucette from Just Framing in Bath. I often show Michael's video to people who are unfamiliar with our work, and we get a classic reaction of, wow, if ever I need something framed, I'm going to go see that guy, which is really sort of the classic reaction that we want. Much of our work to this point, if you see on our website, was shot on higher end cameras, DSLRs, which really results in higher costs. You need to engage real professionals that have a lot invested in their gear. And that creates a higher price point that really has prevented us in some ways from achieving the density within a community that we've really been after. I will send this presentation immediately after, and all of the videos will be live, all the links, and you can play through, but I won't play any videos now because it doesn't work so well on a screen share. The breakthrough that we found recently is that in trying to convey this authenticity, cinematic quality is really not necessary to achieve that connection. And this realization really has been driven by the evolution of video on the internet in the last couple of years, really since the pandemic in many ways. That latest statistic, 62% of web traffic is on mobile devices. That means, a prevalence of short form vertical video shared on social media. We all hold our phones vertically and we want the videos to fill the screen, and that's just sort of the way it is. As a filmmaker myself, years ago, the idea of a vertical video, was just not heard of. But it's really sort of where we're headed. Here are a couple of examples from social media that sort of illustrate the simple storytelling and how that can resonate with an audience. On the left is one about a taco stand in Houston. It was produced by a daughter about her father's new business. It is 8 seconds long in classic TikTok fashion. It's got 3 video shots, and it received 49 million views. The one on the right is an artful pour from a coffee shop. And there are several of these people are just interested in the routine, what other people do. And that received 62 million plays. So again, it's that authenticity. It's a glimpse into another's life. It's something relatable. Okay, here's our Sealy, Texas pilot. And I know there's a lot going on here graphically, but I want to tell you the exciting results that we received earlier this summer. Sealy is a city of about 6,000 people, 40 miles west of Houston, right off I-10. You can see the map there. Classic Main Street downtown. How do we get people off the highway to visit, right? It's 4 square blocks, their Main Street designation, classic 1880s Texas architecture. And we were invited there through a personal connection to do this pilot. We did 9 business profiles over 2 days through this streamlined process with a local videographer. We placed those video profiles on an interactive map. You can see there's pins on a map and an accordion drop down and a vertical video. These are, again, sort of 30, 40-second short business profiles. They called it a walking tour, which they felt was beneficial to tag it that way. But it really is about the content. You'll see the URL there, and you can poke around the project again when I send it over. So we create all this content. Where does it go, right, to reach its full potential? You recognize these logos, of course, as social media platforms. And social media, I think, can carry sort of a loaded connotation these days. We really see them more as publishing platforms to reach audiences where they are. We live in a self-publishing age, obviously, with incredibly powerful technical tools to reach people. The response to this content, as we've dropped it really over the last 10 days, has been very immediate and very telling and frankly, very encouraging to us. We have relatively new social media accounts. It's not like we had a huge Hero Media following to leverage, but we still, on the right, you see that's our Instagram Reels snapshot, averaged 5,000 views per business profile. We had some big hits on TikTok as well. And most powerfully to me, perhaps, or equally so, are the comments. And we pulled a few on the left, really reflecting the exact consumer behaviors that we hope we can influence. Just reading a couple, love this, going to have to drive a little bit further west next time I'm in Houston. Good to know, I'm 90 miles away, but I'll make a trip at some point. And even as we consider this place-based storytelling beyond the business profiles, which certainly are a key component of that, and we posted a video of a drone shot over the railroad tracks downtown. Somebody posted, I used to walk past this every day on my way to school, and gave a double heart face, So just, again, a collection of short videos that highlights the unique character of the businesses and the place. Overall, we generated nearly 300,000 views on just 18 pieces of content across 4 platforms. This was our pilot, and as we add to it, each Main Street program, community program will build upon the success of the previous ones. And this really is just sort of scratching the surface. And yes, on the right, we did have one runaway smash. The Saddleback Saloon piece reached over 200,000 views. I think it's at 220 this morning, and still going strong. So yeah, that's fun to watch. But really, this is bigger than social media. It's bigger than the individual businesses themselves. We really want to be partners for a community, to shine the light on the unique character of a place. Again, our goal is to draw people downtown, to highlight places familiar and new, and regardless of which business in an area might go viral, like the Saddleback Saloon did, it's really not a competition. We see all of those businesses and places on the same team, obviously, which is what I love about your organization so much. It's not membership based, right? We are in this together. And it all benefits from that collective exposure. You know, you've heard that content is king, and certainly with all of the digital platforms, you know, they're looking for compelling content, and our goal is to place this wherever it can be seen, including local news platforms, other earned media opportunities. I'm sure you've all noticed, you know, Channel 6 and the Portland Press Herald, and, you know, huge digital followings. And often you sort of look at some of their content and go, you know, I think we could produce something that, you know, is worthy of that exposure. You know, and this is really a unique approach. We study the social media feeds of and websites of Main Streets, similar organizations across the country, and we don't see anybody taking this approach. And the power of the content really goes beyond sort of those static ribbon cutting photos and some of the things that you see. Many organizations have business directories, but there's nothing moving inside of it. It's not as engaging as it could be, and that's what we hope to do. Again, I'm trying to convey enthusiasm for what we're doing here and not to be too salesy, but this is the base product as it's currently designed. Looking for candid feedback from professionals, you know, like you, as to how this might be able to work for communities across the country. The initial $5,000 gets you 10. Each individual business is $300. The more we can do, the better. But we found certainly in Sealy, you know, 9 or 10 is enough to sort of get a critical mass. You know, we understand how taxed you are from a time perspective, how busy the day-to-day can be, and really, if we were to come to your community or any others, we found in Sealy that she said the best thing about this is that I didn't have to do much. The director down there, you know, it really is just making the initial introduction to the business community, and then we take it from there, scheduling, production, media delivery, and then hand it over. And then wherever you want it to be placed, whether it's on this interactive map or embedded in your current website on the business directory, just sort of tell us who the webmaster is. That's it. I really appreciate your time to be able to tell you what we've been up to. We're really excited about this. Look forward to any comments and questions. There is, as I mail this out, there's a video appendix here. Some other TikTok examples, samples of our work and the Sealy stuff. My email is on the cover page. You can search our social channels by Hero Media Network. I hope you do and sort of engage with the material there. And look forward to a conversation. Thank you.
Thanks, Dean.
Sure.
So a couple of questions I was thinking about. So the videos are about 90 seconds. And do you want to stop sharing your screen? I just realized.
Yes, certainly.
Super.
Yep.
90 seconds.
They're about 30 seconds, the ones that we've been placing on social media. The initial
okay.
Yep.
And I'm open to anyone else, obviously, asking questions. These were just a couple things that occurred to me. I liked how you said a glimpse inside what is happening, because you all have destination businesses. You all have businesses that are doing unique things, work, selling, whatever. So I think you all have those businesses that are really cool to kind of get behind the closed doors, if you will, behind the scenes. Dave, I see you took yourself off mute. Are you sure you want to talk?
Yeah, I feel like it's too long to talk. It's too long to type, and I just bear with me, and I apologize.
Yeah. And I was going to just say, we have a variety of expertise in this work, and Dave happens to have a lot of expertise in this area.
Well, I think, thanks, Ann. And Dean, I think, thank you for that overview. And I think one of the things that you touched on that's so important that I think people need to scream from the mountaintops, and you quite clearly did, is the great opportunity that businesses have right now, because all these social media platforms have changed their algorithm, right? Like what you said is you can start new accounts, businesses that don't have followings, and with the way that the algorithms are working now, you can tap into trends. Businesses can promote themselves in different ways with these engaging videos that you're creating, and you can have breakout success without having to have huge following. And that actually the views on Reels, which is pretty much copying TikTok, right? And specifically on TikTok, have nothing to do with how many followers you are, right? The algorithm is putting it in front of this, right? So that is an important thing to keep hammering with small businesses, because as we talk about this, at least in my community up here in Rockland, it's tough to catch on. They keep thinking about these static posts, building the following, and it's like, that's over. None of the social media networks are working that way anymore. And I think the other piece that's really, really important that is center circle for the presentation that you just gave is thinking about the trends in ad-supported video on demand, right? And thinking about these small businesses, and within the next 2 years, I mean, they're going to be able to be putting videos like you're creating for them on Hulu in their communities, very, very targeted and bought programmatically the same way they're buying Facebook ads right now. And that's like not 5 years away. That's a year and a half, 2 years away at most. So I really commend you for all this work that you're doing for small businesses, and would say we need to be championing this more, because I don't think small business owners realize the opportunity that they have over the next year or two.
Right. Thank you. I think just a couple of things. We really are at the dawn of this new age, right? And if we get to Web3, which is a whole other thing, and maybe owning your own content, interacting with your audience directly outside of the big sort of monoliths of Facebook and things. I mean, self-publishing content, you can reach your audience. The algorithms we found even in our pilot, they are geo-targeting through our hashtags, right? We can see in the comments, I've lived in Sealy my whole life and I didn't know this business was here, right? That they need to reach. I think that's a concern perhaps, is, all these views are great, but how does it impact my business? It's being targeted even more closely to home for some of this stuff.
Yeah, you touched on it, right? Like the zero party and first party data that everybody's searching for. And we know that they, again, they delayed the going away of cookies by another year or so, but we know it's happening. And so I just think small business owners don't know what to do. And so your work in championing this, it's like short form engaging video like this is the way to get zero party and first party data. You own the audience, and then the sky's the limit. So
right. And I'll just say, we don't pretend to be marketers, in the classic sense, or have all that information. We're learning as we go. We're really all about the engaging content and encouraging businesses to just tell their stories, because we see that is what resonates with people. You don't have to pretend, just tell people why you do what you do, and they'll love you. It's as simple as that.
Great. Other comments, questions? Dave, I totally appreciate those comments and overlaying with Dean. That was a great perspective for me.
Thank you. Yes.
Jen.
Thank you. I think this is great. And I think that one of the big barriers for getting video out there is people just not having access to quality equipment or the editing functions or things like that. They don't want to put up something that looks like it was shot on their mom's flip phone, if that had an option. So I think this is great. In what you send us for information, and we are going to have to sell it to our businesses as well to get them feeling comfortable with engagement. Is there a video or something that we can share with our businesses that puts together what you just gave us in a presentation for them to pay attention to? Because one of the things I'm thinking is, my budget doesn't have 5,000, but if I could get the businesses to buy into maybe $150 out of their pockets each, that would bring my cost down to 3,500, and it might be more doable.
Yes, I will send you on our website. There's a link, and on our About Us page. And if there's more information that you need, if we need to sort of encapsulate this a little bit more, we'd be happy to do that. And that feedback on sort of a cost sharing is really valuable. And what I was hoping I would get out of today is that, yeah, this is a great idea, and here's how we might be able to do it. Sharing it, the cost with the business. Maybe there is certainly a sponsorship opportunity if we're creating a landing page, a local bank, has their logo on it. What are some creative ways that we could sort of cobble this together? So I will send you again everything that I have, and let me know if you need more, and encourage those kinds of discussions, because I think the beauty of this program really is that we can tailor it a little bit, right, to meet the needs of a sponsor, of the business, of the place. Yeah. And
then the last logistical question, in the 90-second storytelling of our Main Street video, it said that it would be a voiceover interview. And is that done with, do we have to do that? Or is that something that we can invite the city administrator, a mayor, or whatever to participate?
Another classic example of let us know what you need, and that's just sort of a benefit that we've added, saying we're going to be running all over town, collecting all this great content. We could easily stitch it into that overview piece that, you know, you see here and there. And whoever wants to be the spokesperson for that, that's fine. Sure, we'll come and we'll interview anybody that you think would be appropriate and put together something. We'll fly the drone around, you know, the sort of this is our town piece that would be suitable for, you know, your website. Yeah, and just one more thing that you picked up on, and these businesses think, well, it's not professional enough. TikTok in particular has really opened the world's eyes to the fact that it doesn't have to be great, right? It just needs to be real. And you know, I think really any camera phone in your pocket is good enough to tell your story and to create content and put it up. Certainly, we like to think there are storytelling you know, elements in there and some artistry. But even if a business doesn't have that or doesn't feel that they do, then it shouldn't stop them from creating content.
Bill.
Did you say you'd done some work for Just Framing in Bath?
Yes. Yep. On our website, heromedianetwork.com, the link will be there. You can see it. Actually, I'm not sure if that one is still channel. We've done about 50 2-minute profiles in the DSLR, you know, sort of the higher end camera cinematic approach over the last 3 or 4 years, and Just Framing was one of them. It's one of my favorites actually because Michael really you know, exhibits a vulnerability and tells his story and talks about, I didn't think I was confident enough to own a business, which you don't normally hear from a business owner. And it just sort of immediately creates this connection of, you know, I want to do business. This is a real person. And, you know, it sort of drops that facade that I think a lot of businesses feel they need to uphold.
So Dean, how long has he had that ads?
We did that about 2 years ago.
Okay.
And, you know, again, it wasn't really an ad so much. It was a piece of content that we gave to him that we wanted to do to help build our brand. So what we're doing now is a little bit different. It was not activated on social media quite like what we're doing now. We did find that people love the videos, but 2 minutes is just a little too long to hold somebody's attention on social media. And that's been our realization, is that, you know, a quality 30 seconds will do it.
So Amanda, we ought to be able to build on that.
I believe I worked with the original hero. I don't think it was you, Dean. It was somebody else.
John, yes, maybe John called you and
yeah,
said,
John called me and wanted some advice on where to go around, and my memory's a little foggy on it, but I do at least remember.
No, you're right. You
happening.
We were in that mode for about a year, just sort of saying this storytelling approach is something that we really want to hone. And we were just looking for interesting stories, and we just made some outreach to say, you know, is there a good one in your community? So thank you for that.
And interestingly, Linda said in the chat that Michael is great, and I have admired that video for a long time. So she's glad to meet the makers.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Maine Made, we've done some stuff, and Tammy likes our work, and, you know, hopefully some of you have encountered it, or if you take a look at our website and see some of the videos, you'll recognize some familiar faces at least.
Thank you.
Other questions for Dean, or Dean, other questions that you would love to get feedback on? It seems like the pricing, the finance piece is like flexible and creative to kind of, like you said, figure out how to piece it together between sponsors and business contributions.
Yeah, and again, I guess I'd like to separate it. You know, if you think it's a great idea, but you don't have the budget or don't see how you could get there, let me know. And because that's really valuable feedback to us. You know, there are several beneficiaries to this, like the business itself benefits, the community benefits. If we string all these together, right, and the state or the region would benefit by that sort of network effect. So, you know, maybe if we like the idea, then we could sort of think together about how to sort of pull it together. I mean, really, there's very little margin in it for us, frankly. You know, we try to hit a price point where we can really impact social change behaviors, and, you know, feel that there has to be a way to cobble this together if the idea is solid.
Amanda.
I do feel very much so that your price is fair, if not lowballing the work that you do. I know that for us, it is at the nonprofit level, it's always challenging to come up with even the nominal fee. So that's something that we all have to go back and tinker with and see whether that's possible. I really wish that there was some kind of major federal grant that we could all take advantage of and just make sure every single Main Street Inn affiliate had exactly what you are offering, so that we all have the same,
Well,
and that all of our websites have this, and that one doesn't have one and one doesn't. Because I think especially during the pandemic, we all realized how important the connectivity of our social media was, and how that kept us sort of going. And even more so than 2 years ago when you guys first reached out and were like, oh, I'd like to do a story video. I'm like, okay, but now it's like, that almost feels mandatory. And I'm just wondering, if we always talk about grants and they're always like these little wishful things, but it would be so nice if it could be straight across the board for all of us. And that would be my dream.
Thank you for that. It's my dream too. Quickly, I think we heard those stories from across the country, right? The businesses that made it through had a community already, right? Their community knew who they were, and and their patrons put up with a little bit of inconvenience or went out of their way to patronize them. And so you're right. It's essential, I think, now. We are talking to communities across the country, but I'm from Maine and would love to see us do something as Mainers together. It seems to be a manageable group, 10 main streets. And to your point, I'll dream a little bit with you. Is there a way that we could all do it at once and put 100 pins on a map and, get some regional, if not national press and win an award and, go to Boston in the spring and say, look what we did?
Right. And our 14 affiliates. So it's
Yes.
actually 24 communities. And, largely, Amanda, this is the type of thing that I try to think about programmatically, which is like, how can we still tell our stories better? And Linda put in the chat, or even regionally within Maine, like Stonington, Ellsworth, Belfast together. That's a really good point, Linda. Which would be, Bath, Brunswick, Lisbon, maybe together. So that's part of what I'm trying to think about is, what can I do as a coordinating program? The Texas example is with one Main Street, but I'm trying to think about it differently. Dave.
Yeah, I was going to say, it does feel like we have some of like the broad strokes of how that collaboration could happen through Main Street, Maine.org, and thinking about our aggregated kind of like content there, and also knowing, especially during the pandemic, we saw trends on CTV within tourism and destination marketing using user-generated content. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I know that was a big trend. So I'm wondering if there is a way for us to potentially put our heads together and think about how we could leverage that platform and our relationship with the Office of Tourism and think about something creative, because it does feel like a great opportunity. Sorry.
Yeah. And I think I've mentioned this, that unofficially in January of 2023, we are going to theoretically be getting some money. It's ARPA money coming to the Office of Tourism, coming to us. And to me, I'm like, okay, what does the next generation of Main Street Maine look like? Does it include having, a content developer like Dean come in to kind of complement that and marry that? So that's actually where I am thinking, both from a funding standpoint and like you said, Dave, making those two work together.
Right, like we already kind of all participate together in some kind of sharing of aggregating of content anyways, like there's a framework for that. So let's just, I know it's hard like to think about one more thing, and nobody wants to like raise their hand to like own that, but like it does seem like we should at least think about it, to your point, Ann.
Absolutely, I totally agree. Other questions or comments for Dean? Dean, anything else that, Amanda, were you going to say something?
I just can't stop this morning. I don't know. I finally got my coffee, so now I'm like, I just want to say how likable you are, Dean, as a speaker. You're very approachable, and just, I like how you present, and I'm not annoyed, and that's super rare. And like, thank you. So just keep going on whatever this road is. I think it's great.
I really appreciate that. Since we're sharing, I mean, I am really passionate about this work and having small businesses feel as though they're seen, right? This really is sort of a witnessing of a small business, and to reflect back to them the hard work that they put in and the value that they provide to their community. And that really, as we consider the places we live, that's what we most cherish. You know, we all love a 48-hour Amazon delivery, right? But it doesn't really help in the end. So thank you. I appreciate that. And it keeps us going.
Great. So Dean is going to share the slides that have the links, and I'll get that all out to you guys. And you'll have his contact information. So yeah, thanks, Dean. Thanks so much for coming. And hopefully this is just kind of the beginning as we really think about doing something like this in Maine.
Yeah, please. Thank you. I'll be in touch with you, Ann, and anybody else. Don't hesitate to reach out and just sort of kick some ideas around. I'd love to.
Okay.
Thank you. I appreciate your time, everybody.
Thanks, Dean.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Cool. Well, thanks for letting Dean come and talk about Texas. It is fun to look at the videos. I've looked at them on his website and in the Texas piece, and they are these little snippets, and you all have that content, every single one of you. Linda, I'm thinking of the guy in downtown Stonington that, oh my gosh, it's like the rope, I forget what he's called, like the tire. I mean, he makes knots, right? But he does much more with them. The chandlery?
Yeah, no, he's great. Yeah, Marlin Spike.
Thank you. I was like, Chandler, is that what we call him? Anyway, a Marlin Spike. Amazing business with incredible stories. I'm sure he's been videoed and written about a lot because he is so unique. But anyway.
Yeah, he's gotten a fellowship for the Maine Arts Commission, so they made a video on him for that.
Yeah. So you all have those stories for sure. So I guess just with our last 20 minutes together, I just want to see how everything is going, whether you have any things you want to throw out to the group, concerns. I know it's definitely been a hot and rainy pockets of timing for your events, so you're all struggling a little bit with things like that. Dave, I would like to know how you survived Lobster Fest and the heat last weekend, because boy, it was hot. But anyway, what would you guys like to throw out for discussion or updates?
I think that's how I got sick. It's been so hot, and it actually was. It was like we also so Rockland Main Street took over Art Walk, and so we like got volunteers to like close the street, and like first Friday, so it was over last Friday. It was so hot, and we were out. It was just like it was just fried, and I think it just like it cooked over the edge. That's actually was going to be the thing that I would throw out to the group is like, so are we the only we're not the only Main Street that is Route 1, right?
Let me think about that. I mean, Route 1 kind of goes through Bath, Saco.
Yeah, so we closed with volunteers, and I kind of went back and forth with we had like city attorney and our new police chief, all like, can Rockland Main Street with volunteers like close the street, or do you need a police presence? We didn't
just ask Dale. Dale is here. MDOT Dale. Anyway.
Okay. Yeah, so Dale, what do you think?
Dale has to get off mute. Hold on.
I'm always on mute. Yeah, so we have a process and a brochure, and if you want, send me your email address. I'll send it to you. It involves your police department, and there's a couple criteria. And there are many, quite a few Route 1s that are Main Street, Presque Isle, and there are quite a few. So yes. So if it's a state or state aid highway, you follow a process is pretty simple and straightforward, and away you go.
Yeah, it sounded okay. Yeah, so maybe we take it offline because I know the cost, right? With just kind of we are very short staffed in terms of our city police officers, and so we're finding that a lot of the events that we want to do, like staffing with the police, is becoming the main issue. It's not funding, it's not desire, and so just trying to think creatively about that. And so we did that on Friday, and we think based on our city manager and our attorney, followed all the rules, but it would be good to get that that feedback.
And then, and our traffic engineer in the area will help.
I forgot Dale was on the line. I didn't mean to out.
Yeah. And I didn't know I was on mute, so I kept talking, but nothing happened. So thank you.
Yeah,
Happy to
thanks.
work with you, Dave.
Yeah, okay, sounds good.
The DOT is everywhere.
Yeah, I'm learning.
Other questions, comments, things you want to share this morning? And I'm not going to drag it to 9 o'clock 9:30 if there's nothing going on, but it's always nice if people have things they want to throw out there. Deb, you're off mute. Were you?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention about the Downeaster. I'm sure if they're not back to pre-pandemic, they've exceeded pre-pandemic ridership. I was just on a train to Boston on the weekend, and I'm lucky that I had tickets beforehand because people are showing up at the station expecting to buy a ticket and get on the train. Selling out like crazy. So we're thrilled with that, and thrilled with the traffic going through the visitor center as well. And, we do have our challenges, as I know that everyone else has, with affordable housing, which is a real factor in many small businesses being able to hire folks, because for $15 an hour, you're not going to drive 50 miles a day to get to your job. It's just not going to happen. So sit on every committee there is. And our business group that I'm a part of, we met with Carlos Mello from Fame and to learn about their Thrive forgivable loan program. So I'm pushing that out and to all of our businesses, and it's a great program. So call Carlos, call the office.
I'm really glad you brought that up, Deb. Carlos is on the MDF board, and he actually put me in touch with the staff people within Fame that are doing the Thrive forgivable loan program. And Delilah's hosting one for her small businesses on Monday on Zoom. So you probably could tune into that. But you may want to consider doing a similar program in your communities, because it is a really good program. And I'm happy, I'll make a note to send you the contact so you guys can set that up. They'll just do it and set it up and your businesses can come. I'm trying to decide whether it's something I should host or you guys should really do it at the local level. I'll think that through, but I'm going to give you the contacts. It sounds like Deb has done it in Brunswick. Delilah's is scheduled for Monday, the 15th. The other thing you said, a couple questions. Is there any discussion still of the Downeaster expanding to Rockland? I know at one point that was happening. It was going to go back. Amanda.
I sit right next to the railway. So I was looking out my window because there was one of those little trucks that ride on the rails. And there was a guy out there messing with the stuff more than they normally do. So I ran out of my desk. I'm like, hello, what's going on? And he's like, oh yeah, we're new. It's the Finger Lakes Railway that bought it from Eastern Maine Railway. So we have a new ownership of the whole line. There's going to be a lot more traffic, a lot more cargo. And the guy who I talked to was sort of the lead maintenance person, but he gave me his card. He told me to email him, which I did. He said he's going to get me in touch with the communications people so that we could be kept ahead of the information coming. And he said that his CEO his dream is to get regular railway passenger up through to Rockland. So that would be so cool, Dave.
Dale, do you have anything to add?
We're considering a couple pilots. We're working with them, and we don't know exactly where it's going, but we are working with them. And just on the Downeaster, it's interesting. Statewide intercity rail traffic for June was down 5% compared to 2019, but compared to 2021, it's up 240%. So it's up. It's within a percent or two, and actually that was in July, and in June, it was actually exceeded 2019. So it's hovering right around those 2019 travel. So I just happened to have it on my desktop when you mentioned it. So things are good.
Uncanny that you are here today, Dale. Dale, if there's any way, the fact that extension of that particular corridor would touch more Main Street communities, which, you know, are vibrant economic hubs with historic downtowns that visitors love. Please let me know if a letter of support would help.
Yeah,
or
I think
if
when
there's
things get along a little bit, I'll get some more from Nate.
Okay.
Nate's our rail person here, works within the bureau that I had, and
Okay.
when we know a little more, I'll circle back
Okay.
around. And yes, if those would help, I definitely will do that.
Okay, that would be great.
Yeah.
And
Dave?
I have a comment about the Downeaster and ask for help. Can I
Yeah, go.
for a minute? Okay.
Go.
One, yeah, people in Rockland are very excited about the possibility. For me, like personally, I'm always talking about the Downeaster because for me, that's my main story. I would have never been able to move to Maine if it wasn't for the Downeaster, because for the first 4 years of living in Maine, I commuted from Kennebunkport to Boston on the Downeaster every day. And I often tell people that the story is not just about tourists coming up, it's also about like accessibility to different like work opportunities, which brings me to my ask for help. I'm working on a project here in Rockland, trying to get more youth connected to our workforce. And as I did an environmental scan of kind of the work that's been done in this area and some of the barriers, transportation for youth who are kind of currently disconnected from a lot of social capital is a big issue. They don't have parents that can help them get their driver's permit. They don't have access to vehicles. So I'm working on a project. I would love the opportunity in a future meeting to share in more detail about this project, but I'm working with a lot of kind of youth service organizations and the Department of Labor on this project. But I'd be curious to know, and kind of my ask for help is if you all could think about in your downtown, if access to transportation for youth is an issue as it relates to getting to either jobs or internships or apprenticeships in your downtown. I'd love to kind of, any data that we can aggregate would be really helpful as I go about trying to look for some opportunities here. This is a major issue in Rockland.
So interesting. I'm wondering if there's any data from the Breeze, which doesn't touch Rockland, but it does go from Brunswick to Portland or further south. I can't remember. And I know, like in my town, I'm on the Breeze route with 2 stops, and there are a lot of youth using it, some for recreation to go to Portland, but some for work. So I don't know if there's any data from the Breeze. Dale, were you going to say something?
Yeah, Dave, just because we're hitting all the points today. This DOT currently, the governor set aside $5 million for workforce transportation support in rural areas, which we all kind of, even though we're somewhat urban in our centers. So I think we advertised it maybe a month and a half ago. So currently, if you go to DOT's webpage and go to rural workforce pilot, and I don't know if it fits any of your applications, but DOT is looking for applications from businesses, nonprofits, and specific sectors that were affected through COVID. And so far, we have $5 million. So far, we have 4 applications. One is from a not-for-profit. I think we're going to get another one soon. A couple businesses to kind of in the mid-coast. But if that's something, if anything there appeals to you or appeals to the organizations you're working for, Ryan Neal here in the Bureau is our person, and he can talk to you about a little bit about in connecting an organization with some of these pilots on how to, whether it's youth or whether it's older people, but or whether it's just underserved communities like New Mainers. We're getting applications from lots of those. So if that's something that you fit into any of those categories, when you read it, let us know and we can chat with you a little bit.
Yeah, I would love to do that. Maybe this, and I don't know if I don't want to take the conversation offline if it would be beneficial for others, but one of the conversations we're having is I'm working with ITN, which is the national nonprofit.
Yeah, they're one of the applicants that we've
That's
had.
what I was just about to say was, can we figure out who the applicants are? Because I can't see Rockland Main Street being a lead, but I could see them this initiative.
So I'm going to be partnering with Catherine on a project, and I've worked really closely with Catherine on some past work for that. So maybe what you're saying is like I should connect offline with Catherine and talk about. Okay.
Check in with Catherine, and then maybe just have a conversation with Ryan a little bit. I think those two would be good places to make some connections, because some of the applications are businesses, and we've been kind of keeping them, eventually we'll make them public, but
Yeah.
in the initial conversations with some of the businesses, we've not been advertising them at their behest, but.
That makes,
yeah.
that makes a lot of sense for the group to know, right? So there's been so much funding and money focused on senior transportation because the CDC has identified that as a health crisis. But what we haven't seen focused on is youth.
Yeah.
Is youth transportation, right? And how specifically those models, like somebody like ITN, could be applied to getting youth into our workforce the same way we're thinking about getting older adults to access to care and social capital and things like that. So that model and flipping that is something that we're really
Yeah, and part of our questions for ITN are what are you there with, we've got some follow-up questions about which groups are you focusing, which groups are you really trying to support. So I suspect we might hear that back when we ask. So anyway, check those out. Sorry to keep taking the time
No,
here.
it's great. It's very timely. Melissa.
I just want to throw out another facet of that issue I'm running into with my daughter. Because community college is free, they are overrun with students and do not have enough housing. And my daughter doesn't have a license yet. So there's literally no way for her to get to school right now. And of course, housing isn't an option either. And it's just crazy. Like if she even were to get an apartment in, the West End or something like that in Portland, it would still be like an hour and a half of transportation. The college actually just recently got hotel rooms by the mall as an option. And that still is an hour and a half plus bus route each way. So, if you even want, a skilled workforce, you need to have them be able to get to the college campuses. So that's just another facet of the lack of transportation options. So I've even looked into like dropping her off in Brunswick and then taking that express bus, but that's another hour and a half too. So it's just crazy. But hopefully she gets her license soon.
Jen.
David, would you share the findings of your conversation with us as a group? Because I have the purview, my office is located at the train station in Saco.
Yeah.
And affordable housing is such a crisis here that there has become an encampment along the train tracks. There's some social media communication that lets them know that the train station has shelter, electricity, facilities. And it's, there's some probably chronic homeless folks, but we're also seeing young people between 18 and 26, 27 that can't afford $2,800 a month rent. They're working the $15 an hour job. And the reason that they're camping outside of the train station is it's also the bus station. So they can get to their job, Walmart in Binneford or in Portland and keep their housing. But the weather's going to change, things are going to shift. And I think it's part of a bigger umbrella. But if there are funds that we can participate in that help with the transportation piece, then at least that's one of the.
Yeah, I'm wondering if, and Ann, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I'm wondering if it might make sense for me to schedule a call with you, myself, and Catherine, because I would love to come. ITN has the infrastructure if we were to try to roll something out as like a pilot in Main Street communities, and they have a separate program that's specifically focused on rural communities. It might just be worth the three of us dialoguing. And then
absolutely, I'm happy to do that. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right, cool. So that I will definitely do that. And thank you for bringing that up, Jennifer. I'm just trying. This is what these calls are for. Is like we're all thinking about these challenges, and like I'm very much kind of laser focused on what's right in front of me, but like we must all be dealing with this, and let's figure out how we can come up with like a statewide kind of pilot on this.
Absolutely. I mean, you guys are hubs of energy and activity and challenges in one way, like you do have the same things going on, and you are also these places where things can be piloted. Like I said, just expanding the Downeaster through, the Downeaster touches Main Street communities, the whole route already. Like, there's just these obvious geographical connections between you all as well. So,
and Ann, if I can also put you on the spot,
I'm ready.
When we met, you talked about being willing to do a new board member, an onboarding.
Yes.
And I just thought that maybe synchronizing with some of the other Main Streets, if they have new board members. We have 5 new coming on after August 24th.
Right.
And
so what?
Just like synchronizing.
what is going to happen with that is we are scheduling. So there's 2 trainings offered every year for board members. One is through Maine Association of Nonprofits and is about kind of good nonprofit organizational structure management. And the other one is like a deep dive into Main Street approach, 4-point approach, committees, and how Main Street organizations. And that training, which is really for any board member, old or new, is going to happen this fall. I talked to Perry about it the other day. We just haven't set the date, but I'm going to let you know. It will be a Zoom meeting. It will be recorded. And, you know, we attempt to do it, you know, kind of in that after the workday time, so that it works for people who have other jobs. So that's coming and will be scheduled. And then the MAMP one will be in first quarter 2023, because some people have new board members starting in January. So that's happening. The only other thing I'm going to say, because we're getting close to the wrap time, is Deb had said in affordable housing, she said, just serve on all the committees you can. So Deb, would you just talk about that a little bit? Because it is yet another heavy issue that you guys are dealing with. And I don't have the solution. I am constantly looking at, you know, how can we lower the barriers to redevelop those 2nd and 3rd stories in downtowns, because those are opportunities for workforce housing. But Deb, I'm just curious if you'd dive into that just for our last minute together.
Sure, that has been the focus of our Economic Vitality Committee. And we've been working very closely with the town planners and economic development people over there who are, you know, gathering stats, coming up with different options. There was a moratorium, 180-day moratorium on new development. And our economic development director, who hails from Baltimore, this is her bailiwick. And what they're looking at is providing incentives for developers to build a certain percentage of whatever their development is, mostly apartments. A certain percentage have to be allotted to affordable low-cost housing. But, you know, the developers are saying it doesn't pencil out. Well, we have to make up that difference. And I think we are through TIFs and different programs. So initially the developers were, oh my God, we're, you know, everyone's going to leave here and no development's going to be going on in Brunswick at all. That's not the case at all. The developers are very much willing to work with the town on doing this, and that's where we have to be. And plus there's new ordinances that are going into place and zoning that would allow for the little almost like tiny homes built on existing property lots.
Accessory dwelling units.
Accessory dwelling units, that sort of thing. Yeah. But transportation is an issue as well. So we have to make sure it's a coordinated effort. And yeah, so that's the focus.
Okay, great. Thank you. So it is 9:30 and, you know, I'm always a stickler, so for ending on time. So if there was something you were hoping to chat about this morning, feel free to reach out to me. We can set up a time. Dave, I'll look forward to hearing from you about meeting with ICN. Dale, thanks so much for being here this morning. That was serendipitous to have our Transportation Advisory Council member here. And with that, I'm gonna wrap. And like I said, just let me know if you guys need anything. So thanks for this morning.
Great to meet you all.
Bye.